Welcome to the KOMO Sports End Zone podcast with KOMO Sports Director Niko Tamurian and Najee Moye.
Well, hey there, and welcome to the KOMO Sports End Zone. I'm Niko Tamurian. He is Najee Moye. Najee.
Yes.
Big game.
Big game. Big defensive game last week for the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You know, what I learned, and we talked about this on the rapid reaction after that game from Lumen Field, my takeaway from that game was certainly the dominant defense, like anybody would see. But it's the fact that the Seahawks team can win in so many ways. We've seen them run teams off the field. We've seen them win the close calls in the final minutes. And we also saw the weirdest heck game where the offense did not score a touchdown until the fourth quarter, yet they still won 26-0.
A lot of people would be concerned about that against the Vikings team. To your point last week, you did mention the Vikings do have a good defense. I know the Vikings started some guy named Max Brosmer that Mike McDonald probably didn't know.
He said
high school. Did he really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Max Brosmer went to the same high school as Mike McDonald. Yeah.
Well, he mentioned he had a good education after going to New Hampshire and then Minnesota. 4 picks, but a lot of people would be concerned, but I'm not. That just proves it's complementary football on all sides of the ball. I know that the offense did not score to the fourth quarter. Yeah, did you need them to?
Sure.
I'll point to one Super Bowl winning team back in 2000, the Ravens. Yeah, with Trent Dilfer as a quarterback. Who? Exactly, Trent Dilfer. Yeah, because they actually won games with their defense. Their defense is so strong they didn't need offense. You want the Seahawks offense to be better than last week.
Sure.
But, a win is a win in the NFL. It's hard to win.
It is.
Yes.
One thing that I also want to take away from that, and it's something that does play into this weekend's game with Atlanta, really the rest of the season, I'm just struck by how in unison this team is. And what I mean by that is you'll often get the same line. So I want to go back to the summer when people were talking about Darnold or asking the players about Darnold. They're like, oh, he's got some stuff to him, except it, it wasn't stuff. It was the curse word. Oh, okay. But they all said the same thing. And it was just a weird thing to say. Like I've heard the saying, oh, he's got some, to him. But to hear like McDonald say it, and again, at a podium where you don't often hear curse words, although we've heard a lot of it this year. Yeah.
In good ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's got some stuff to him though.
Yeah, like they all said the same exact thing.
Sam Darnold does look like someone who's got some dog in him, I guess. Yeah. That's another way to say it.
Several guys said the same exact thing. And then you want to fast forward to like right now. Both when I was talking to Kobe Bryant on the field post game, when Jackson Smith and Jigba was at the podium this week. I've heard other guys say it. They all say we've got each other's back. We've got one another's back. And I know that's like cliche. That's like, oh, somebody at home, in the car, wherever you're listening or watching might be like, well, what does that actually mean? It means you've got a team that is super, super in sync. In other words, any professional team, I don't want to say any, but most professional teams are obviously close-knit. They're obviously in this thing together. They basically live at the team facilities, et cetera, et cetera. But the way this team has kind of got each other, that's sort of special and unique. What it leads to, I have no idea, Naj, but I think that it is something different about this team. I mean, shoot, you had Ernest Jones up there on the podium, cursing out, quite frankly, F you, that kind of thing. Like, holy cow. But I love it because it's what this team is about.
Yeah. And Ernest Jones is definitely a leader of the team. And,
without a doubt.
Where he goes, the defense goes. But by the same token, where Sam Darnold goes, the Seahawks go. Now, Ernest Jones was mentioned the 4 interception performance that the Sam Darnold had. Look, he's the leader of the team.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I will say this though. I mean, this team has each other's backs and they're all vibing on the sidelines and really taking up for each other because they're winning games. Yeah. The bones are good, so the rest does not matter.
Yeah.
That's a lyrics of a song.
Yeah, and to that point, the slogan for this year's Seahawks team is mob ties.
Oh yeah.
And it's not the mob is in the mafia. It is mission over BS.
Oh.
Like that's what mob stands
I was
for.
thinking mafia just then.
That's what yeah, that's what I thought when I
What is your favorite mafia movie?
Goodfellas.
That was very quick.
Yeah,
that was so quick.
That's not to knock Godfather or Casino or whatever those, but Goodfellas just. I feel good watching that. I feel going back to the childhood a little bit, that kind of thing.
I was gonna say
the Italian dinners.
I was gonna say the Untouchables.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, Al Capone and in Chicago just playing baseball with.
But Goodfellas, easy.
Goodfellas. I
can
see that.
For me.
Yeah, Casino's a close second though.
Yeah, Casino's good.
Yeah.
But
no mention of Scarface. Interesting.
No. Oh well, yeah, but it's not like the Italian mob. That's what I kind of thought you were going after.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I will say this. first of all, don't watch Godfather 3. But no, it's it's when you're listening and you're thinking, okay, what does this mean? How does this translate to JSN doing this? How does this translate? I think when you think about when you try to quantify everything we just talked about, from this mob ties thing to the we got each other's back to Sam's got stuff, all of it. There's a reason we talk about it. And it goes back to the first point I made, is that this team's going to find a way. And they're not going to win every game. They already lost to the Rams and the Bucks, etc. But
these are good teams they lost to.
Yeah.
Great teams.
Well, sure, that's going to happen.
Right.
But they're never going to quit. And when you have games where things aren't going well, I mean, we talked about the offense not playing well against the Vikings, but talk about that Rams game where the offense did not have it going. Yet this team almost won still.
Yeah, the offense didn't have it going, but they still put up a lot more yards than the Rams did.
Exactly. And that's where Ernest was like, well, we got our guy. We got each other's backs. That's where he said it.
Right.
And so that's what you need to understand about this team. X's and O's, stats, they are obviously important. But there's just something about a team that is really going to fight to the finish for one another that you can't really put into value as far as that's concerned. And I'll say this, that when you look even deeper on it, it was asked a lot of the questions on Thursday were about this culture and sorts of things like that. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba raved about it. And somebody asked him, like, what is the difference between the last 2 years, Jackson's first 2 in the league, and now?
Right.
And he's like, it's just different. There's much more camaraderie. And that's not a knock on previous staff or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the idea that Mike Macdonald's culture has really taken hold.
Yeah.
When I see these guys saying, oh yeah, we're just chasing every edge, like that's such a Mike Macdonald term, but they're saying it because it's not speak, like they literally mean it. And that's the point JSN made to me, actually. He's like, you can be like a fake teammate. You can be like fake, I got your back, but then like Najee, I got your back, but then somebody comes up on you and I take off the other way, which I would never do.
No, I appreciate you having
but you
my
know
back.
what I'm saying? You don't need my. We should have switched that around.
No, but it's true. And I've got your back too. One thing that I've kind of noticed about this team, just watching them, is this. You look, but this is Mike Macdonald's second year.
Yeah.
He came from the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
This is a team, organization that I think top to bottom has been in very much lockstep. Everyone's got each other's back. This is a physical organization. The Ravens have had great defense. I just brought them up, actually.
Yeah.
They've had a completely solid defense basically since 2000.
Yeah.
This year a little bit not so great. I'm sure they're missing Mike Macdonald, but I'm seeing a little bit of a duality between the height of the Ravens defense a couple years ago versus the Seahawks defense and also the whole entire team now. The offense, given, and you said don't look at the numbers. I did look at the numbers.
You still can, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm saying don't look at it.
Last week, Sam Darnold was 14 of 26, threw for 129. No picks, but no touchdowns either, Between Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, they both had 13, 14 carries.
Yeah.
Even.
Timeshare.
They both ran for over 100 yards, combined over 100 yards. Both had 50-50. That's okay. It doesn't help fantasy at all. We're coming to playoffs. I'm sorry. It doesn't help fantasy as a K9 owner myself. I'm a little annoyed, but I still won the matchup. But it's whatever it takes to win the game. That's what counts. Now, they're taking this party, this winning train on the road, like they've done all year, across country. Yeah. This is like the fourth time they've gone completely across country to Atlanta. They're not playing Michael Penix, who has had a season-ending injury. They're seeing Kirk Cousins.
Speaking of which.
Kirk Cousins, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is.
Yes, Kirk Cousins. The master extortionist of NFL teams. No, I'm joking.
Well, how do you not love this gift, though? Yeah, I'm going to let it play a couple more times for our viewing audience.
It's a great gift. This was a gift that when he was back with the Washington, what they would used to be called 100 years ago. And
you like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
He is a solid quarterback. This team has fallen on issues, let's just say. This Falcons team.
It's interesting, too, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is a Falcons team that has a solid, I would say, offensively, the bones are there offensively. First year head coach, second location head coach, but first year with the team. Instability at quarterback. They want to go Michael Penix. They gave Kirk Cousins a ton of money in the offseason to be their quarterback. He got benched. He's back again because of injury. Niko, what do you see? What are you thinking?
I mean, I'll start with the offense and switch to the defense. The offense, like you mentioned, has the framework. I mean, Bijan Robinson's as talented as they come.
Yeah, he's next level.
Pitts is a little bit perplexing, but he's starting to perform at a higher level. Drake London's a playmaker. They even have their own version of a Zach Charbonnet and Tyler Alligator. So, so the framework is there for a good offensive team, and it just hasn't overall, as far as wins and losses, come to fruition. The defense, they love to attack.
Yeah.
And that, as we saw from Minnesota, caused Sam Darnold some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam used the word they're strong and they're powerful when he was talking about that rush from the Falcons. So when you look at it from that perspective and you see what the Vikings did to the Seahawks, I mean, really threw them off, again, to the point where the offense didn't score a touchdown to the fourth quarter. There's something of a blueprint now for a team that likes to be an attacking defense. And I think that's what you're going to see the Falcons do. One thing I would say to that end is that we saw the Seahawks offense adjust nicely.
Mm-hmm.
They had some quick dump offs. They were able to, figure out how to get rid of the ball quicker, not have to go to a third progression when you're getting rushed that way.
Right.
And ultimately the offense was better in the second half, even if it was just one touchdown to that. So I think that's what we're going to see from the Falcons defense, try to replicate what the Vikings did. And then offensively, you're always having to account for that. Now I have the most confidence of any defense in the NFL that I do with the Seahawks. I just think they're great.
Right.
Ernest Jones on another level. I'm not even talking about the pick six. I love his response to the Brosmer. He's like, he's not really going to throw this, is he? And
when he was falling down, tripping over another guy, Ernest Jones was like, I can't believe this ball is ending up in my hand. But he had the presence of mind to take it to the other way.
Yeah.
So,
easiest catch you'll ever make.
Yeah.
And so, but that all aside, the Seahawks defense is elite.
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to it, it's just a matter of the defense making sure, like several teams across the league have done this year, you keep those playmakers on the Falcons in check. Or, as we've seen, at the very least, you try to, if you're going to bend, make sure you don't break.
Yeah, I think the defense from the Seahawks defensive, angle, the number one thing they have to do, contain Bijan Robinson. Yeah. There's probably a picture of Bijan Robinson on Mike McDonald's desktop wallpaper right now. I can tell you, as a Bijan Robinson fantasy team owner, I know the Falcons are 4-8, but here's the only reason why my team is even sniffing the playoffs right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he is next level. I think you got to put two guys on him. I know he's coming out the backfield. Whenever he's on the field, Ernest Jones and another person need to have eyes on him all the time. He is just...
They just use him in a lot of different ways.
They use him in a lot of different ways, especially out the pass also. He's not just going to run for 150 yards. He can do that, and also he catch for 70, Also, Kirk Cousins is a seasoned veteran. I say he's a master extortionist, but he's earned a lot of money from a lot of different teams because he is a good quarterback. He can play quarterback. This is probably the best defense he's seen all year, I want to say.
I would think. There's a lot of good ones. But
I
would say the Seahawks are, in my opinion, the best. So.
The best thing about the Seahawks is, Mike McDonald has instilled this discipline in this team that, defense and running the ball travels, as we've seen. And this team is, I don't think that we'll see what we saw last week as far as the Vikings go. I think the offense will play better against the Falcons. I'm not expecting a 26-0 blowout.
No.
Because I don't think the defense will have that much of an edge over the Falcons offense, but I do think the score will be a little bit closer.
Yeah, Kirk's a little more seasoned than Max Brosmer.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I think Sam Darnold, his numbers didn't jump off the page. He definitely managed the game, just didn't lose the game. That's good. And I don't think he'll lose this game. One thing that I think the Seahawks do have to be kind of cognizant of, especially going into this matchup, is this is not, and I know they take things 1 week at a time, as they should. I, however, am looking at the schedule going forward after this, the rest of the year. We're 3/4 of the way through the year, almost. So.
Crazy.
Yeah, and the Seahawks have a lot of crazy, difficult opponents going forward.
Yeah.
So, in 2 weeks, you got the Colts. In 3 weeks, you got the Rams, and then you had the Panthers, I'm doing this from memory, and then again, the Niners at the end of the season. What would help, and what helps any team at this point, when you're trying to make the playoffs, I know the Seahawks are pretty high in the NFC right now in the standings, but you want to play the best towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
They can start doing that this week.
Yeah. Sam Darnold made an interesting point at his press conference this week where he said that he's not over evaluating, but obviously he's aware of, like you said, the schedule to come.
Yeah.
But also maybe even more so the idea that the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Niners all have 9 wins.
They're all very tight.
They all have 9 wins. And that's a really big thing to think about, because even something that would be considered like, there are scenarios where the Seahawks go 11-6, which is a good season, which is an improvement off last year, and they don't make the playoffs.
I was just thinking that there's a way, because of the unique way, especially the other divisions in the NFC that are also really, really good. I'm talking about the NFC North. That there are, I don't think all 3 of these teams can make the playoffs.
There are scenarios where they can, but is it
the likelihood? However,
it's not the greatest likelihood,
right?
I believe it happened in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but it's to that point. It's you got to win these games, and that's the most obvious thing you ever said. But it's something where 11 wins, which is a really good season, crazy as that is to say, may not get it done.
And I want to point out by saying that I predicted the Seahawks will win 12 games this year.
You did. They may,
and winning 12 games, not making playoffs, would be an impossible scenario, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
And the idea here too is what Darnold was saying is like they're cognizant of how close the division is. In other words, it doesn't change the approach, it doesn't change the effect, but they're human.
They're aware.
And and as often as I say we don't pay attention to that, there's a lot of these guys read social media.
Yeah.
I had a conversation. I'm going to keep this person's name silent, but I had a conversation with a guy once, and he's like, I'm like, can I ask him about that? I'm like, do you guys watch local news or see what's on social media? And he's like, a lot of the coaches will watch local news too. He's like, we'll catch maybe a little bit like clips online. He's like, but mainly it's social media for the guys. And they're getting Twitter notifications or whatever, or Instagram, whatever it is, because as I need to hold my phone for effect or something. Because they're obviously somebody's saying like at so-and-so, you didn't do this or you did that. So they see it all.
Yeah.
And I remember this one player in particular was like, it bothered him to an extent when it was reported. He's like, yeah, 1 second you're giving me a hug, the next second, or even fans, the next second I make a mistake and you're acting like I need to be traded or something. Like, oh wow. So they do pay attention to it, is the point of that.
So watch what you tweet.
Yeah.
Watch what you tweet.
Or really mean it, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or have it back it up.
Yeah, so they're cognizant of the situation.
Right.
And certainly even if they had a 2 or 3 game lead on the division, it doesn't mean they'd be pumping brakes or taking the feet off the gas. But I think they understand that every game is going to have this kind of urgency from a standpoint. If you lose, you could go from first to third.
Yeah.
You lose, you could be on the outside looking in, because not just in the division, but across the NFC, the playoff race is that tight. You've got 3 playoff caliber teams. Really, honestly, 3 playoff caliber teams in the North. The South is terrible, but it's going to get one team.
But it's going to get competitive, though. I mean, between Tampa and Carolina, as it turns out, and I think all the best teams in the league, I shouldn't say all the best teams, the Patriots are very good, and the Chiefs, say what you want about the Chiefs. I think they'll sneak in somehow, but most of the best teams in the league are in the NFC. I mean, there's at least 2 in the North, and all 3 of them are on the West. I count the Niners in there too. The record, you can't deny the record. I didn't think that we were going to get to this level with the Niners. I mean, we saw what they were last year,
right?
And, but they've, you can't count out Mike Shanahan, Brock Purdy. I saw him doing the Dougie last week. That was a hard watch, but I think the Seahawks have the right head coach and quarterback combination.
I agree with that.
And when you have a great head coach and a great defense and a great quarterback, an MVP level quarterback, I'll still say that. He may not have shown it last week, and there was a 4 interception game, whatever. But he's caliber. The caliber is there.
Yeah. I'm just gonna bring up Kirk Cousins again.
Yeah, I'm not concerned. But like I said, going across the country, early game, 10 a.m. on the East Coast.
Well, they've done well with it. Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville.
They've done well.
So I think it's about that time, Nash.
What do you think? I'll go first. Now, I was pretty, how can I say this? I didn't expect quite the beatdown. I was a little bit more, conservative last week, because I just, you never know. Max Bozeman could be Brock Purdy. He wasn't. I
think Steve Mariucci said that on the broadcast, the preview, and then
you never know. There's no tape on the guy. I do think the Seahawks will win this game. This game actually reminds me of last year's Atlanta game a little bit, when the Seahawks, the defense really, really took over. They won 17-3, I believe. I think this Falcons offense is better this year. I think the Seahawks will win this game 21-10. off of the strength, and this is me praying because I need to make the playoffs, of at least one Kenneth Walker to the third touchdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I need you to lose. That's right.
You need me to lose. So here's the situation in the KOMO League. A little window into our life. We were just talking about this for the podcast. There are like 4 or 5 teams that are 6 and 7. And there is 1 or 2 playoff spots that are kind of up for grabs. I am 6 and 7. I'm on the outside looking in right now. Niko is not 6 and 7.
But I'm not mathematically eliminated yet.
No,
even at 5 and 8.
No.
So there.
So
and let me ask you this, Najee.
Yes.
Do I not have the 3rd or 4th most points in the league?
You do, and you've gotten a hard draw.
It's okay. It happens in life.
It does. Your team is good. You drafted well. That's what that means. This is a difficult league to win.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna do a similar prediction to you though.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was thinking 24-10.
Okay.
Initially, I was thinking 24-7, but I'm like, you know what? A second possession, maybe they get a field goal.
Yeah.
I just think the defense, they may bend. They're not going to break. I could even see it being 24-6, like 2 scoring drives, that sort of thing. Even if the offense maybe struggles a bit, and I do think they'll bounce back.
Yeah.
With the high pressure defense that Atlanta operates with guys blitzing and just a really tough team in that regard. I think that even if the offense has mild success against that, the Seahawks defense is going to really shine once again as they have all year.
Yeah.
So that's why I think 21-10 is a good idea. 24-10, 24-7, something in that range. And I think the Seahawks get it done. They get to 10 wins, not just tying last year's win total, but their best since 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, with 4 games to go.
Yeah, and I raved about Bijan Robinson, and I always said you shouldn't look ahead. You shouldn't look ahead. Well, I'm looking ahead as I've done this whole podcast. I think this game, the way they deal with Bijan Robinson is going to be comparable, or they may, it may be a preview of how they deal with Jonathan Taylor in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is another guy. He's also an MVP. He's probably more so, but MVP level running back, and that is a thing. By the way, MVP level running backs. Running backs are super important now. Bijan Robinson makes me nervous. The savviness of Kirk Cousins also makes me nervous. But I think if the Seahawks wanted to go far into the playoffs, they are going to deal with individuals, teams like this. I know they're 4 and 8, but they're on the road. And, I'm not putting the Seahawks in upset alert. I don't think they'll lose this game. I think they're a very solid and steady team, probably one of the most solid teams in the league. If it was Philadelphia going to Atlanta, I'd be a little bit more concerned, obviously. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this matchup, though. You got to wake up early to see it. Get your coffee ready.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with the 10 a.m. matchups, and that's what it is in Atlanta. Seahawks can improve to 10-3 with a win. Mm-hmm. They are trying for that first divisional title since 2020. Trying for their first playoff bid since 2022, missing in 23 and 24 is the longest drought in 15 years. The hope is it doesn't get longer than that.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the success and the culture of this franchise, that they are so accustomed to success. And certainly that is something that has been talked about and appreciated, especially by the players this week, as we talked about at the top of the show. So Najee says 21-10.
Mm-hmm.
I say 24-10, 24. I'll allow myself 24-6.
That's okay.
That's like a backup score.
Yeah, it's a backup score.
So there you go. And certainly when the game ends, we'll have a rapid reaction for you on this KOMO Sports End Zone page, on the KOMO News YouTube page. Of course, wherever you download your podcast as well is always a good place to find Najee and I. Hopefully we're still friends next week if one of us knocks the other out of the fantasy playoffs.
We may neither of us may make it, honestly.
Yeah, then, right now, if you look, we're both technically playing each other in the losers bracket, so
that's okay.
It's okay. Misery needs company.
That's true. It's a tough league.
Yeah. So, hey, let's enjoy this. Seahawks, they're 9-3, favored to win in Atlanta. Doesn't mean a ton, but I think when you look at it in that perspective, it's a really interesting race here in the finish. Final 5 games. After this, it's 2 more at home. You're home Sunday the 14th against the Colts. That's going to be a doozy.
It's gonna be a great
and
game.
Then just a few days later, Thursday of that week, the 18th, they host the Rams, and that's when they're going to wear those rivalry series.
I was going to ask, are we going to see those Oregon Duck jerseys?
That's when they play the Rams, yeah.
Those so-called Oregon Duck jerseys.
They wore the throwbacks when they beat the Vikings, and it was glorious.
Yeah,
and then they hit the road to play the Panthers and the 49ers. Neither of those games has a date or time, because you're talking about the holiday weeks, and they get to flex those. So given how all 3 teams in that equation, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and 49ers are in the playoff picture. I could see those, especially if it remains that way over the course of the next 3 weeks. I could see those being flexed to primetime games, but those are things we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. Seahawks, again, after this road trip to Atlanta, they're home for the Colts, home for the Rams, on the road at the Panthers, and close out the regular season on the road at the 49ers. Najee, what a stretch.
What a stretch. All winning teams, all teams with winning records. Surprise, surprise about the Panthers. I think they're better than a lot of people think. 2 division games in there. This is it. This is it. I mean, this is it. Given you cannot lose, you cannot drop this game to the Falcons because it puts you at such a disadvantage going into the rest of the year. And I think Mike McDonald's drilling that into the players' heads. And honestly, they know that they're on the precipice of success.
Yeah, so, like you said, the playoffs start now.
They start now.
Indeed, they do, and we'll take you all the way through it. Hopefully into February. Hopefully all the way into Mariners spring training. Even
hopefully. We want Niko to be busy. I don't want to see Niko after January, honestly. I mean, I do, but like, I want you to be on the road every week, or I want you to be at Lumen Field every week for home playoff games.
That sounds good.
Really want.
That's how close it is. They're technically tied with the Bears for that, but
yeah,
Bears win via tiebreaker. All right, he's Najee. I'm Niko. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.